y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So if y'all want to see how I went from this to this, please stay tuned and keep watching. I'm gonna give y'all all the details on this look. This look is made out of 100% Swarovski crystals. Her entire eye is iced out, all crystals, no glitter. So starting off this tutorial with her eyebrows already done, just because I didn't want to waste too much time. I didn't want the video to be too long. And of course, I'm going in with my P. Louise base. For this part, I kind of went heavy-handed on the base. Wasn't really that necessary because this isn't like a vibrant, colorful eyeshadow look. So this much product definitely was not necessary. I only used a lot of brown eyeshadows. And so yeah, just keep in mind if you ever wanted to apply a bunch of crystals to the eye, depending on what type of look you're going for, this much base product is not needed. But of course, I placed it there, let it dry a little bit, and now I am just blending it out. So as I said, I'm only using a bunch of browns. I start off with like a dark brown, and then I just use like a lighter brown to transition. So nothing really special here, just blending out some browns, a bunch of neutral colors. This part isn't really that important, just because I'm gonna cut her crease anyway, and the main focus of the eye, of course, is the crystals. So I usually just use like a neutral color for eyeshadow, just so that it isn't doing too much. But you're always welcome to use any color you want. These crystals are very holographic, so holographic, iridescent, all that. So you could use a pink eyeshadow, blue, green, like whatever color you wanted to use. I just opt for brown because it's the most neutral. So to cut her crease, I'm using this Urban Decay eyeshadow primer just because it dries very matte, and when doing this look I find that it's easier to work with a matte product specifically for this part, because you have to keep in mind that you're going to be applying crystals to the entire eye. So you want to make sure that whatever surface the crystals are going on is going to be, suitable for it to stay for a long period of time. So I usually end up cutting the crease with this Urban Decay primer, and it's going to keep her eye nice and matte. And you'll see soon that I'm also going to apply a shimmer on top. So it'll all, come together, and the shimmer is going to stick very nicely with the eye kind of being semi-matte and then drying completely matte. So after I cut her crease, as you can see, nice and cut, very precise, I'm gonna go ahead and add on that pigment that I mentioned earlier. This is really just a like kind of whitish, silverish pigment from NYX, and I just like to use this just so that the crystals can kind of have like a background, something that's gonna kind of complement the crystals, as well as kind of just be like a background color, shade, whatever. So now I am just doing her liner. Nothing spectacular here. I usually do the liner before I start applying the crystals, just so that I know where exactly the liner is going to be, versus putting the crystals and now I gotta try and make a line, and then now it's too far down, and like it could just easily end up a mess. So just to get the liner out the way, I usually do it before I start placing the crystals, and that'll also kind of guide you to where exactly you want to start putting the crystals, because it'll basically be like an outline. So now that I have the liner out of the way, I'm going to go in and use some lash glue. Lash glue is really your best bet to get the crystals to, stay on the longest, just because lash glue, it's very strong, especially if you kind of let it get tacky. So it just helps the crystals stick. And I shorten this part as much as possible because literally it takes me like 4 minutes to put crystals on each eye. It's very tedious, and I'm even going to zoom in for y'all so y'all can see that I'm literally putting one crystal on at a time. But it is so worth it because look how beautiful that looks. Like, I love doing this because it comes out so beautiful every time. It's really like a fashion statement. It's very bold, very beautiful, and I love it. But to get the crystals to stick, I would definitely recommend using a wax stick. I got a pack of 2 from Amazon, and for some reason the crystals stick to the wax, and once the crystal's on the wax stick, it's just very easy to stick it straight to the eye. And I kind of have my crystals spread out on like this little like a lash container. So yeah, I went ahead and did the other eye off camera because it's very repetitive. As you can see, I literally placed 1 crystal on her eye at a time, literally. And so I just popped on some lashes for her. I ended up double stacking the lashes, so if you see the lashes go from kind of thick to really thick throughout the video, you'll know why. But I wanted her lashes to pop a little bit more than they are like right now, just because, the crystals are a lot, so you kind of need a lash that's going to be a lot too, so that they complement each other. So now we're moving on to the skin, and this is my favorite part of the video because I did a different technique that I was so excited to record for YouTube. But I'm starting off using the Angel Veil primer, and as y'all know, I use this primer all the time on my channel. I love it. It makes the face nice and silky smooth. And then I'm also using the Milk Hydrogrip Primer. And I like this primer because it's kind of moisturizing, but it also helps, product, literally like the name, grip to your face. So my favorite part, for her base makeup, I literally did every part at the same time. Well, kind of. So as you can see right here, I'm kind of applying like a bronzy color to her face just to prepare to contour. And now I'm actually going in with a contour shade to contour her face. And I found that if I did this like all in one step, it kind of gives me more of like a flawless finish, and it's also just faster. Like, December was a very stressful month, and I was just looking for ways to make my day, make my life easier. So I just started doing this, and it has been very helpful. So here I'm just applying a concealer shade. I'm pretty sure I was using a NYX concealer, and I'm just applying that all in, like the highlighted areas of her face, under her eye, her forehead, and her chin. And then I'm also going to go in with her actual foundation shade and put it on the outer edges of her face, around her jawline, a little bit on her forehead, and, just on the outsides of her face. But when doing this, you want to make sure you kind of map out what, quantity of each color you have, if that makes sense. Because since I'm using like a really dark contour, I want to make sure that I'm using a very light highlight so that they can, complement each other. So this is where all the magic happens, and y'all are about to see this become her skin. So to blend out her face, I start off with the contour. I always start off with the darkest color, and I'm literally using this brush kind of in 3 different sections. So to blend out the contour, I'm using the bottom half of the Instapot brush. If you're familiar with the Instapot brush, you know that it's angled, so I'm kind of using like that bottom angle to buff out the contour, and then I kind of use the middle portion of the brush to buff out her actual foundation, and then I use the very top of the brush to blend out her highlight, just so that it can all, merge together, of course, but I also want each, color to stay separately so that you can easily differentiate the contour, the highlight, and her actual foundation without it looking like, you know, 3 different things, if that makes sense. But as y'all can see, it is most definitely coming together, and her skin is looking like her skin. Like, look at that. So here you can see I just went in a little bit more with some more highlight, just because I really wanted the higher points of her face to pop, because I already knew that I was going to contour her face to the gods, and I wanted to make sure that her face was snatched. So I just went in with a lighter concealer right under her eye, and then more of a, you know, her shade under that shade. And then I contoured her nose separately, just to make sure that that was nice and crisp. And I'm just going to carve out her eyebrow, carve out her wing liner, and carve out, well, not carve out, but blend out her nose contour, and then blend everything out for the final time before I set her face. So now I'm gonna go in and kind of bronze / contour her face, and I'm doing this before I set her face with loose powder, just because I feel like it kind of gives her face a very, what's the word, like a snatch, like a soft snatch, because instead of putting the contour on top, I'm putting it under the loose powder, so it's gonna look less harsh. And then I'm gonna go in with my loose powder, and I'm literally just gonna set her face in all of the areas where, you know, I didn't apply the contour, of course. And I'm not necessarily baking. People ask me all the time, like, how long do I leave the powder on? And I'm not necessarily leaving the powder on, I'm just applying it and working in sections. So as I apply it, I'm just pressing it there so that it can absorb, you know, any extra oils. But while it sits there, I'm just working on another side or a different, you know, area of her face, and then I just end up tapping it all in. So as you can see, all that powder that I just added, you know, I've just kept tapping it into her skin until it, you know, eventually just dissolved, just so that her face doesn't, you know, get oily and can stay nice and matte throughout the day. And for her lips, of course, I had to do a nude lip. I'm just wiping off her lips really quickly, just getting off all of that foundation and powder. And I am lining her lips, of course, with MAC Chestnut. And I then ended up using like a really light pink to kind of blend in the middle, because I wanted it to be like a bold, soft matte lip, if that makes sense. But it came out really pretty. I liked it. And for under her eye, I kind of wish I would have added like some crystals there too, but I was not thinking at the time. So I just kind of left it plain, just gave her a little bit of brown eyeshadow and gave her some mascara. And now she's popping those lips together so that they blend. And to conclude it, I pretty much just added a little bit more powder because I wanted her to have like a brighter under eye, just so that everything continued to stay nice and matte. And yes, this is the finished look. I'm gonna give y'all a whole minute of videos and her just looking beautiful. And yes, so I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, recreate it, tag me, tell me what y'all think, tell me what y'all want to see next. And yes, thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, Happy New Year 2021. We are coming different this year and working smarter, not harder, period. Bye.